What is going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Savage Patriots. We are here, Leeless. He had to work, but
Yeah.
the Fat Jew will be with us. I believe he's on his way home, and so he should be available here in the next few minutes. And when he pops in, we'll let him on. So,
Right.
with that being done, housekeeping out the way, I want to welcome all of you all to the program. We want to have a discussion about the ridiculous rise in violence towards everyone in America. And I mean, not from police, but from citizen to citizen. Um, and if you think it's not happening, then you've been living under a rock because it's getting
Yeah.
ridiculous out there. Some places you can't walk if you don't have the right, and I don't mean gang members, you don't have the right apparel, you don't say the right thing, you get jumped. You look a certain way, you get jumped. I've seen videos of people just sitting on a train. Someone walk past them and clock them. So we got to figure out what exactly is causing. Is something in the water? Is it it's hard times? Like what is it? Lack of moral compassing? What exactly is causing all the strange and ridiculous problems? Now I want to start with the most triggering of the videos we have, because this one is one of the more problematic ones. It's in the schools. Here we have a little girl talking to a teacher. This is how they talk.
Oh! You think that affected me any?
Want me to hit you again? Want me to hit you again?
I don't want it.
Want me to hit you again?
I don't want
Want me
it.
to hit you again?
Oh my
God.
Mm.
I told your dumb ass I'll knock this dumb ass glass off your face.
And do I look like I care?
What's wrong with you? What you gonna do? Still sit in that chair? Nigga, you a bitch. My granny, nigga, stop playing with me. Bitch ass. Ain't nobody even come and you just got slapped. Bitch, go back to teaching.
What in your right mind would you believe that was necessary, even okay to do?
His single
in the
mom
first
taught him
place?
that. His single mother taught him that. You can tell he grew up in a single mother household because he has no respect for authority. He has no respect for women. So he just showed what he thinks about women. The same way he's talking to that woman who is senior to him, elder. It's the same way he probably talks to his mom, probably talks to any person that comes into it, any female that comes into his life, he talks the same way. And he won't be held accountable. Why? Because our society says holding young black kids accountable for anything is a form of racism.
Period. The second one, and we're showing you in succession because the violence is not just limited to kids to teachers. It's also going the other way around, the teacher to kid, especially special needs. This one will be a little more triggering because this one is a special needs kid on a bus going home. Keep an eye on the teacher.
Why, though? That makes me mad.
And this goes on for a full 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Really makes me mad.
it should. But yeah, we should trust the state with our children.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Should definitely send them to school because homeschooling is terrible.
And this is something parents need to worry about. You know,
Thump on his foot,
you're supposed to trust
pressing on his
teachers,
foot.
people that are taking or with your kids while you're at work in the school system. And you can't.
Yeah.
You can't trust them because things like this happen. You know, and people will say, "Oh, you know, what was her reasoning?" There is no reason. No reason at all. She's just a violent individual who probably took it out on this young kid who looks autistic. Maybe he's autistic.
They
And
this
she's
She's just
probably
inflicting more and more pain.
just doesn't like white kids. And she was like, I'm gonna take it out on this little white boy. Exactly
the
what it
problem.
was.
The problem with this is that it was multiple children over months, and they were all nonverbal autistic children who had no way of telling anyone it was happening to them. And then pretended to be nice with the parents when they dropped him off. Like psychotic behavior. Psychotic behavior.
The video you're seeing is from the bus's camera. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm pretty sure that the bus driver can see from the front, because that's what it's really for, not just for recording purposes, but to see if anything going on in the background, he can stop it right away. But I'm not sure why he didn't stop that. I think he should also be held in some way, shape, and form to account. But of course, that's not going to happen, because I have a suspicion, he probably looks like her.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't have that.
And I know she got arrested. Yeah, she ended up getting arrested for it, but the way our system works now, nothing's going to happen to her. She'll get fired.
Probation.
Yeah, she'll get probation, she'll get fired, and she'll lose her license or something like that. Pay a huge fine. Go through some type of community service or something, and she'll be right back out there. And just because she's not in the school system, I wonder what she's doing to her own kids, if she has kids. Because if she's willing to beat on a stranger's child, imagine what her own children get at home.
It's even worse than just like any child, because it's a special needs child. That is the most depraved, evil, demonic thing you could possibly ever do in your entire life, is to beat a child so helpless that they can't even talk back. They can't even scream out. They can't even complain to anybody. That is psychopathic serial killer behavior.
Yep.
In my opinion, like it's right up there with diddlers, right? And the places they need to be in hell, right? We're right up there in the same place.
Shredder first.
Yeah.
Make sure it's a shredder that they go through first. That's their access point, just via the shredder.
Just their hands first,
Just
and then while they're in pain, screaming, you throw them in the wood,
or pour salt water on it, heavy salt content.
Salt water.
And then you have incidents like this one.
What happened? He got shot?
Smacked him in the back of his head.
With what? I didn't even see it.
Jail. That looks like here. That looks like it's here.
You know what I can't stand the most is that sound, that voice sound. If I ever were to have an alarm to make me wake up straight out of a stupor, it'd be that sound right there. That would wake me up.
What, the kind of world star sound?
Yeah, that her voice. Yeah. I'd wake up. I'd be on my feet in seconds if I had to shut that off. I couldn't sleep through that.
And you notice how arrogant they were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Back in our day, Marlon, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't even get close to doing that to a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone film it and be arrogant and screaming and hooping and hollering in the street on video, putting it on social media. You're that's stupid. That's stupid to post yourself laughing at that officer while filming it and posting it to social media, thinking like nothing's going to happen.
But that's a lot of these kids. They keep filming themselves commit crimes in the dumbest possible way to convict yourself and incriminate yourself is by recording the thing you're doing is wrong.
Those are adults too. So imagine, again, that lady is probably a single mom with young boys or girls. So the way she's acting, the kids are acting. Your kids are a reflection of you. I don't care what you say. When they're young and impressionable, they are a reflection of you. Even when they get into adulthood, they act like their environment a lot of times. Not all.
But most.
You're right, Retro. Damn climate change.
Cool weather and hot weather.
Making all of this hot weather making people crazy.
Climate
right?
change.
It's climate change's fault that all these people are going psychotic. It's their brains are just getting cooked up, man. Too much sun.
Well, we need more winter.
Too much sun. Yeah.
Okay, here's my legit question then. Okay,
Mhm.
most of the jesting aside, because I don't think if we watched this from a really, you know, serious standpoint, we'd cry. So let's look at it
Yeah.
from a slightly hilarious standpoint.
Uh-huh.
Will it take them doing it to some other American citizen and them doing a Kyle Rittenhouse event for this to stop, or will it escalate even after that?
No, because they will just invite the guy that almost shot Kyle Rittenhouse to speak on their behalf.
I remember seeing that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Who the guy named Gage changed his name so he wouldn't be recognized, and then he went to events with the new name as the guy that almost shot Kyle Rittenhouse, which is amazing.
He's
Yeah,
still
what- What I think would happen, it depends on the race of the guy. That should always be a factor. You know, if it was a black dude and he was around here getting beat up by those, almost said something, but those people, I almost said it, almost slipped off the tongue. They probably just brush it off as, you know, typical black on black crime. You know, oh,
Well, that's
you
what
know,
it would be. It's
they
gang-
do
it's
that.
gangland
They
stuff.
do that all the time. But if it was some white guy just out there minding his business and he Kyle Rittenhouse them, he'd be plastered on the news, called a racist. They killing us out here in these streets and all
Yeah.
this other stuff. So it just depends on the individual. Depends on who
The
Kyle Rittenhouse.
the other reason I know why they won't is because of the 2 black teens that were killed in the chop,
Right.
where they occupied an entire city block and even a federal courthouse with armed militias and shot 2 teenage boys and killed them who were black, and not a single word of reporting about that other than a blip on the radar and then no charges.
Yeah.
Wait,
that's
we're
the
not
way-
looking to try and charge people that do that. We're trying to charge white cops.
Right.
Get over
Yeah,
yourself.
they have to be white.
Come on. Wait, you don't know the system by now, man? Come on.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean,
And then
bad.
this has also been happening simultaneously with a lot of
you.
the things.
And now to a story you'll see only on 5. Shocking allegations of a Glendale middle school teacher attacking a 7th grade student and the school's brazen attempt to allegedly cover up the dramatic events that followed. The family's attorney says the vice principal of Wilson Middle School tried to get students to delete an audio recording of the attack.
Yeah, but that audio survived and it was shared with us tonight, and it's a story you'll see only on 5. Rachel Menitoff is live in Glendale, where she spoke with the victim's family about the disturbing claims. Rachel.
Rick, Cher, good evening to you both. The parents of this student say their son is pretty traumatized and hasn't been to school since this happened. They told me that since our interview this afternoon, they actually got a call from the vice principal who told them their son's schedule has been changed and the teacher won't be on campus on Monday.
Because how can that happen this day and age?
This is Edith Nafshadian and Roland Bagdasarian. In an interview you'll only see on 5, they allege that their son's 7th grade math teacher hit him across the arm in an unprovoked assault.
So I get a text message from him saying, "Mom, my teacher hit me." And I'm just thinking, I wrote him, "What? Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Like, are you messing with me?" And he's like, "No, Mom, my teacher hit me."
This allegedly happened Wednesday at Woodrow Wilson Middle School in Glendale. Nafshadian says her son's teacher initially asked him to stop eating in class. She explains it was when he turned around to confer with a fellow classmate on a math problem that his teacher came up from behind and in a surprise move slapped him.
She was shaming him very, very bad, like yelling at him, how dare you? You're bad. You're not a good kid. You're making stuff up.
They say in addition to the bruises this young man endured, he was also verbally belittled by his superior for his so-called bad behavior. One student recorded the aftermath of the altercation on a cell phone.
I'm not afraid of you or your parent or your lawyer whatsoever.
You can't hit me.
Yes, I can.
According to the family's attorney, the student who captured this exchange was told to email it to the vice principal and then erase it from his phone entirely.
We need truth.
I wonder why would they
Especially
do
when
that?
we drop off our kids at schools where we as parents drop them off in a place where they think they're safe.
These concerned parents are hoping the district
Hold on a
alerts the
second.
school community about what happened and makes changes.
When have schools been safe? Honestly, I'm trying to think of when the last time a school has been safe, and it's been a long
1930s?
time.
The 1930s.
Mm-hmm. School was safe when I was in school. I mean, yeah, we'd have little fights, but we didn't have to worry about anything like that.
I don't think the schools have been in like a good position since the 90s.
That I could see that being fair.
Yeah, that's when I was in
Like,
school.
I think it started going downhill in the 90s, but like schools haven't been good since then. Like, not in the least bit.
The turn of the 2000s is when it really took off to a bad direction. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And it went substantially downhill. But I think part of it is because teachers have become babysitters as opposed to teachers. It used to be that you had some more leeway with the kids. Like, and I don't mean being able to be violent, but you could tell a kid to stop or call the parents, and the parents would show up, and there'd be something you can do. Today, they don't have that support system. They don't have the principal backing them. They don't have the parents backing them. So a lot of them come in and they know that. They say, "What? I don't need to be nice," and they become jerks. Then don't teach. That's what I would suggest to you. Don't teach. If you don't have, you think you don't have the backing, and you don't see yourself, don't teach.
Yeah,
don't do it.
And you know, to your point, Marlon, around the early 2000s, what came on the rise in the early 2000s? The internet. The internet.
Yeah.
So the internet has a lot to do with this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you look at school now, when we went to school, we got a book. We put a cover on it, and everything was out of a book. You had to read, everything was out your book. Nowadays, these kids get computers, they get laptops, they get cell phones in class. They have all this stuff that keeps them distracted from what's going on in the classroom. So what do most of these kids watch? World Star, violent stuff. They see stuff like we're showing. They watch the same stuff, so a lot of them emulate the things that they're seeing for video. And then what do they always put it on like idiots? They put it on camera and they share it with all their friends on social media. So a lot of it has to do with the internet and technology. That is the reason why school is the way it is. Now, could it be some of the teachers? Yeah, maybe. But a lot of it, you can't control these kids now because all they do is pull out their phone, look up a law, look up something. And now they're like, oh, you can't do that to me. You can't say that to me. Here it is. You know, you can't. So a lot of times the teacher's hands are tied.
Can you guys hear me?
Too loud, yeah.
Yeah, you're too loud.
Gotcha.
Too loud? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can adjust you here. Don't worry. You don't need to do nothing. Keep talking.
Keep talking?
Yeah, there you go. Okay, good. We got you.
All right.
But like you said, is that like I said before, schools have not been good since a while. Like you want to trust these teachers with your kids, but then you can't even trust the other students with your kids, right? So like the likelihood of your kid getting beat to death in school is pretty high. They're also pretty high to getting shot, and they're also pretty high at being sexually abused by a teacher or somebody else in that school. Like particularly, you remember the Virginia case, right? With that girl getting sexually assaulted by a transgender individual. And then they did nothing about it. They didn't even tell the parents.
Right.
So like there's at this point, if you're sending your kids to school, especially public school, you're stupid. There's no way that I would send my kids to public school again.
Because all
ever.
it is now is indoctrination. It's a system. It's, you know, getting people ready to be worker bees and not do anything worth a damn with themselves, you know, because like if you give people just a little bit of freedom, they're able to invent things or try and fucking sorry, I'm cursing, try and do something worth a damn, you know what I mean? Instead of being somebody's, you know, essentially slave to just collect a paycheck.
Yeah. We're already straddling TOS. I think cursing is the least of our worries.
Thank you. Turning now to my teammate and a 75-year-old substitute teacher who says he was assaulted by a student earlier this month. He's sharing his story now because he says the student was never arrested. teammate's Cody Fisher sat down with the teacher who tells his side of the story.
Before Rob Gooding was taken by ambulance from Perry Meridian High School to the hospital, he told school police he wanted to press charges. Nearly a month later, the student still hasn't been charged. Anything like this ever happened?
No.
Rob Gooding started substitute teaching after he retired. He was in the middle of teaching a business class at Perry Meridian High School when a student attacked him.
I saw him come up and he says, "I've had it." And he came down and I blocked the cologne book. That's where that hole went. And it shut me down like this. And then all of a sudden, he hovered over me and with his left hand, whammed me.
The assault left him with a severe black eye.
This man-child, he was 6'2", 280 pounds.
When paramedics arrived, Gooding said a district police officer was by his side.
Immediately, you said, I want to press charges.
Yes, he said to me, we have been instructed by the higher ups, which is the district, not to handcuff or arrest the kid.
Enabling.
What was their reason?
No reason.
No, just because.
Just because. I'm tired of this.
So no accountability nowadays. Just
Yeah, no.
do what you want, act like a complete and utter jackass, and nothing happens.
Yep.
You can beat up a cop and walk away the same day. Man, I'll tell you, is this still America?
No.
It don't feel like it.
And these kids know it. So, and like I stated earlier, they know what they can get away with.
Right, and they're just going to keep doing it now.
Yeah, they're going to keep doing it because they know they can get away with it. You're not going to arrest me. You're not going to do anything. And the minute something happens, it's going to be blasted all over the news. Then the story's going to get twisted to put the teacher or vice versa at fault. And it's just going to be a revolving door. And a lot of these districts don't want that publicity either.
Well, especially if it's different between different races too. Like the optics of that is what they're worried about the most, right? If you have a black student beating up a white teacher, that looks really bad. If you have a white teacher assaulting a black student, that looks really bad. Right? So we don't want to have either of those situations happen. So they're just going to keep it out of the news as much as possible.
And it's even like someone said, it's towards it's adults towards kids, like in this case.
We are back with outrage in Ohio after a 3-year-old boy was apparently struck and dangled upside down by a school employee. Miguel Almaguer has more, and I have to warn you, the video is difficult to watch.
The surveillance video shows 3-year-old Braylon Tootle running down a hallway when a school employee gives chase and appears to strike the toddler in the head, forcing him to the ground. Moments later, Braylon, a special needs preschool student, is dangled upside down from his ankles and rushed down the hallway before disappearing out of view.
Anger, lots of anger, frustration. Is my world turned upside down?
Braylon's mother, Tanisha Lindsay, says school officials at Rosa Parks Early Learning Center first told her her autistic, nonverbal son was swatted in the back of the head. Weeks later, she says, Child Protective Services shared this video, which she is making public.
I would like to see that man arrested and charged. He should be in jail. You don't put your hands on a baby.
With Dayton police presenting the case for county prosecutors to review, authorities on campus say after the employee was placed on leave, he resigned.
The superintendent tells parents the district is going to ensure all school employees are properly trained and qualified for their position.
Here is the problem with what he did, not the beating. This is how it's going to work. She spent one type of money to try and get the teacher looked at on the school side. Him quitting means that she has to now start a whole new charge against him personally. So the question is whether or not she has the money to do that. And in doing that, the school knew exactly what they did by letting him quit.
Right. They were washing their hands of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
But as you can see, there's just an overall, as you can see from these videos, there's an overarching issue of people being unable to control themselves. They just don't know how to do that. It seems like it's almost an impossibility. Self-control has gone out the window. Civility is out the window. And you're going to see more of this rise and rise and rise as time goes on. Another example is in this one.
A disturbing fight in a Kearns High classroom. Police say a student put a teacher in a chokehold before assaulting 2 other adults as they tried to free the teacher.
News specialist Lauren Steinbrecher is live outside Kearns High with exclusive details on what unfolded today. Lauren? Dan and Deanie, truly a scary situation. Police tell me that it started with an argument between the teacher and that student, and that entire classroom watched as an administrator and school resource officer tried to rescue that teacher.
Inside a Kearns High classroom Tuesday, a terrifying ordeal.
A teacher that's been put in danger, the students, even in that classroom, were in danger.
Unified Police Sergeant Melody Cutler saying it started when a 14-year-old student walked through the doors into class late, then got into an argument with his teacher.
So they were arguing, and then the teacher went and picked up his things and tried to escort him out of the room when he grabbed her and put her in a chokehold.
The teacher struggled under the student's grip.
And so, you know, the student's a big kid. He's about 5'10", 300 pounds.
Sergeant Cutler says a school administrator responded with a school resource officer close behind. And as the administrator tried to free the teacher, the student bit the administrator in the back of the head at least twice.
We have the
What?
Nice.
Bit the teacher in the back of the head?
He trying to be like Mike Tyson biting the back of it, bro.
So see, the zombie apocalypse is
Is
real.
it?
Not only do we
Yeah, it
have
is real.
brainless people walking around, but now they're starting to bite. I told you it was coming. It's just a matter of time.
Like I said before, it's the most ridiculous thing to think that you or your children are safe at a school. At this point, it's just a prison. It really is just a prison.
Oh, I mean, schools were designed to look like prisons. I mean, everyone knows it. Look at a prison and look at a school. Same setup
Right,
almost.
same thing. Just
You
the
know,
only
same-
difference is no barbed wire. That's it.
Yeah, same cafeteria. You know, they ride around on yellow buses instead of black or white buses. They funnel them around hallways in a line with their hands behind their back. It's the same concept. You know, like Jude said in the beginning, is to create that slave mentality of control, and they're losing control of the schools, just like a prison riot. Once it gets out of control, that's it.
Yeah, and the worst thing about this is the fact that they're not even getting a good quality education either.
Yeah.
Right. It's
That's
one
the-
thing if
that's
you're
the most
trading
egregious.
it off.
Yeah, exactly. It's the most egregious thing about this is that there's ultra violence in the schools and in the streets, and then they go into college, and then there's more violence, and they become adults, and there's more violence, and it's like they're not even getting a quality education through K through 12, and then into college they're even getting more indoctrination to everything else.
Yep.
And it's insane.
The other part is that you'll also have the enablers being the teachers egging students on to behave a certain way. And it's like this one.
24-year-old substitute teacher Natalie Garcia was arrested Monday, charged with 4 counts of child endangerment after this video came to light. You can see these are 12 and 13-year-olds at Kimbrough Middle School in Mesquite, Texas, whose faces have been blurred because they're minors, appear to be fighting each other at the encouragement of their substitute teacher. The incident was caught on a cell phone video obtained by NBC Dallas. The mother of the student who filmed this video says she was shocked at what she saw.
I was devastated. I was like, I couldn't watch the full video. I had to stop it multiple times because I didn't think it was real. I said, this must be a prank. This is not real.
According to Martinez, her daughter told her Garcia pushed desks aside to create a space for the students to fight each other, with some leaving the classroom bleeding.
I do not want this on
First
record.
rule of school club.
Confirmed the teacher encouraged
What
the
happens
fighting
if Fight Club
and
stays?
told a student
Right.
to keep
Yeah.
them out the
First
door
rule
while
of
fights
school
took place.
Who in their right mind?
Jesus.
Because I trust my child to go to school, but I also trust
That was your first
the
problem.
staff to keep my kids safe.
Your second
And
problem.
then this lady, she actually making them fight.
Mesquite Independent School District released a statement calling Garcia's actions appalling and intolerable. They write in part, as educators, our hearts are heavy, knowing that an individual entrusted with the supervision and care of our students could behave in this manner. And we share the disgust that the families of students in this class must feel. Mesquite ISD has fired Garcia, who had been an employee of the district for just over a month. It's not
Nice.
Wow. Made it 1 month.
Yeah.
And then you started a fight club in a high school.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I see. I want more information. I want to see how long she's been here. Like, I know she's been at the school a month, but like,
Like I said before, if you, I don't know how many videos we have to show you for people to understand that you're dumb for letting your kids go to a public institution. You are.
Well, I
Like,
wouldn't
there's
say
no
I
reason to
wouldn't
trust
say
any
you're
of these people.
I wouldn't say you're dumb for the simple fact there are parents who can't afford to sit at home with their kids all day. You know, you're single family home, or you're trying to make ends meet, and both parents are just barely making it. So a lot of people can't sit at home all day and homeschool their kids. But there has to be a way that these schools and these people that are teaching these kids are vetted more. You know, when I worked for the sheriff's department, I had to go through a whole background check, man. Like they went all the way back like 10 years or 5 years. You know, so you have to vet these people because I'm pretty sure she probably has some type of violence in her record that was looked over. She probably did something when she was younger, something violent, decided to become a teacher, and that part of hers never really left because a normal adult wouldn't sit there and smile and smirk as two kids are fighting as you edge it on. Makes no sense.
Yeah. Or at least a psychological evaluation.
Yeah,
Jesus.
something.
But it's, I get your point, Michael, and they've done everything in their power to make it people for unable to actually live on one income. It's virtually impossible anymore to do that, and some people can't do that. I get that, but at a certain point, what's more important to you? Is that you want to risk your child's safety and innocence with a little bit of struggle? I get that, but at the same time, it's like they could be dead. They could be beaten to death in school by sending them one day, and then all of that stuff that you've been doing for them anyway to try to struggle through and like make ends meet doesn't matter because they're gone.
Yeah, and that's true. But if you look at on the other side, that can happen outside of the school. That can happen at a mall. That can happen at a movie theater. So the world, what we're getting at in this whole cast is the world is violent, and America is very violent. I mean, our kids aren't safe anywhere, and though we're only talking about schools, it goes way beyond schools. You know, we're looking at schools as this is one place where they should be safe. So if they're not even safe in school, if they're not even safe in a school, imagine on the streets
like this.
Another subway attack here in New York City. This time the victim is a cellist who performs on the platform while attending medical school. Now, after the violent attack, it is not clear that he will ever play in the subway again. He spoke with Amber Cagliano.
It's a truly disturbing act of violence. A musician in
steal,
New York
too.
City viciously bashed in the head by a random stranger. The woman lurks behind him, moves in, then picks up the cellist's metal water bottle and whacks him.
In the middle of one of the songs that I was doing, I just felt this impact, this terrible crashing pain along the back of my head.
I don't know about y'all, but if I would have seen that, I
29-year-old
probably
Ian
would have picked up
Forrest is
that
a
bottle and
third-year
whacked her
medical
in the
student
fucking head,
at Mount
too. I'm
Sinai
sorry she's a
Hospital
woman,
in
but, like,
Manhattan, who also plays in the subway for the pure joy of performing for people.
Please welcome Ian Forrest.
He's such an accomplished
Ian Forrest didn't see the forest for the trees, apparently, because he got smacked in the back of
didn't.
the head. It's unfortunate, but that's the truth.
You know what it was? Is because he's white adjacent.
There you go.
And these are just small parts of the amount of violence that's going on. This is just like a smidget. Imagine what we're not seeing. Imagine the things that aren't on film. Imagine the things that aren't getting reported.
Yep.
You know,
that's why I picked up another one of these today.
But there's no crime wave.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't see it. They said I can't watch it. It's a subway fight. I gotta show my age.
They've. It's so insane to me. Like there's people there's literally homeless dudes throwing people in front of subways, but there's no crime wave in New York City.
No.
Right.
None of that's happening.
No.
None at all.
No, it's
and like
not.
and like we were talking about backstage, we don't know what the issue is because there's something, man. This isn't normal. Because when I was coming up as a kid, honestly, we didn't see this amount of violence going on. Like there was violence, obviously, but it wasn't to this extent. There wasn't this amount. So what's going on now? And I get it, social media. There's a lot of deciding factors in there.
Yeah.
But when you have grown adults, whole adults just lashing out for no reason, what is going on, up here for them to be doing that?
on a crowded Red Line train headed to Ashmont.
There were about 5 to 6 of them from what I recall, and they started going in saying, "This is a mass robbery, everyone get on the ground."
The teen started physically assaulting another rider, attempting to steal his shoes.
And then tugged his feet and tried to grab his shoes off of his leg.
Dang switched cars, and the group followed her.
They saw me again and started to target me because they noticed I left them.
You can hear one of the passengers try to stick up for Dang.
When she started saying stuff, it would be like, "Why are you interrupting?" or "Why are you getting in the middle of a conversation?" And then they were mimicking her accent.
As the teens mimicked the other passenger's accent, you can see the passenger motion for Dang to come sit next to her.
I was really thankful that they were being very nice and being able to help me in that situation.
But the situation wasn't over. One of the teens grabbed his bike, pointing the wheels into Dang's face.
So the wheels were very close to me,
cornering her.
One of them screamed, "Don't let her leave." And that was when I felt the true shock, because you know that at that point they could follow me home.
The teens ended up making a quick getaway, but not before breaking one of the windows inside the train car.
The original car that I was in, they broke that car,
leaving Dang struggling to process the terrifying experience.
Why? I just don't understand that. Why were they doing that?
Because let me put it to you this way. If I live in a state where I know my actions have zero consequences, the media is saying one thing that, my particular racial group always gets put in jail, but on the ground, it's a completely different case where I know instead of jail, you always get bail and you don't get any time spent. Why would I not do that?
Exactly.
Especially if I'm angry with people and I hate them, why not act up like that? Who's going to arrest me? And even if I do get arrested, I'll be out again in a few days.
Yep.
Even if they die, I'll be out in a few days. So why change? There's no incentive anywhere in these cities for that to change. No incentive.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about this yesterday, Michael and I, about we were making fun of the alpha male boot camps. I don't know if you've seen the videos.
Yeah,
of
I saw you did that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like how ridiculous they are, but at the same time, it's like I get why people find them necessary, is because of the lack of male role models and this insecurity in men, and then also the fact that there's a bunch of boys pretending to be men and emulating what they think masculinity is. Right? Like acting tough on, like example what you just showed, acting tough on a subway for no other reason than he's trying to garner respect and assert his authority. Like that's what that's supposed to be. It's supposed to be emulating this whole authority figure thing, I guess. I don't know. Or just in pure intimidation, or trying to get street cred, or something else. It's something else that he's trying to fill a void with.
Or all.
Yeah, all of it. And if you look at the video, we didn't see much of it, but I didn't see any men. And if there was a man there,
males,
you're a weak man. Because a real man would have said something. A real man would have stepped in.
A real man would have take the bike and have him eat it.
A real man would have stepped in. But see, we've gotten away from.
But then he would have gone to jail. Yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah.
I would have done the right thing.
I would have been in jail.
But yeah, it would have been the right thing though. Take the seat off and have him sit on the peg. That's what I would have done.
Yeah. And spin him.
I just rip the seat right off, lift him right, and just drop him right on and spin around. So you want to feel how it feels to be a girl? Let's try. Come on, let's do it. you want this? Let's do it.
We were talking backstage how I believe that all this is planned. All this chaos that's going on.
100% planned. They want her crazy because as soon as things get crazy to the point where they need to step in now, then they have ultimate control, because once it gets to a point where it's uncontrollable, now we got to say, oh, we got to come in and we got to control the situation. So they want it to get worse. So this way they can sound the alarm and come in with, save people. But in reality, it's not to save anybody.
No, you must have read my brain, because that's exactly what I was going to say. And, it's this whole term called order out of chaos, right? So they have to create the problem.
Right.
And they create the problem. The problem is there. They allow the chaos from the problem to ensue.
Yeah.
And then once it gets out of control, they're not going to stop it. They're just going to let it burn. They might go out and throw out a little rule like arrest somebody every once in a while to give the optics of, look, we are doing something.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not doing anything. You know, and the minute you do something, you arrest somebody, they get released.
Because
So
if
the
you
chaos-
stop it at the source, it'll stop.
yeah, and then you know when the world is burning, as the world's burning, they're all sitting back watching the world burn, and like Jew said, then they come in as the saviors. We got you, but in order to stop the chaos, we have to implement this.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with diseases. They create them, and then they have the cure for it. So they get you sick, and then say, "Come to us. We got you."
the same thing.
Hey, don't worry. Biden said he has a cure for the big C, though.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And it's the
Yeah, we're gonna cure cancer. I wonder what happened to that.
No, he did. He did cure it.
Because he knows what has to happen to cure cancer. You just
You
gotta
didn't know
die.
he cured it? You didn't know? You didn't hear he cured cancer?
Yeah,
he did. He did.
Yeah. Oh, he said so. You didn't hear him?
He did. State of the Union.
Oh, he said it's the you know the diggity diggity dig that cures cancer.
Oh, does it? Yeah.
You didn't know that?
Yeah, I know. It also helps for hurricanes and storms.
Yeah, especially when you get in a hurricane, you get that, and it'll never hit your house.
Next act of miracles, climate change.
No, you can't inject that into the atmosphere, unfortunately. They have to do like what's that tornado movie, Twister? They got to go in the middle of the tornado and release it in there, and then they'll kill her.
That's the only way. You know, between the stickity stick and climate change, man, we should be invincible because that, you know, that fixes everything. You know, everything. Blame it on climate change. If we could fix that, we're all invincible, man. We won't get sick. There won't be no bad weather. There won't be no violence. There won't be no solar eclipses either. You know, because climate change.
Also this afternoon, the search is on for a young woman wanted for attacking 2 Asian women on a New York City subway. The NYPD is investigating it as a possible hate crime. CBS News' John Diaz now has more on how the victims are reacting.
What started off as pointing and laughing quickly turned into something more violent. And now these 2 victims are hoping that their attacker is caught quickly.
My glasses got broken. I've had headache for a couple of days now because the hair was pulled, and so my scalp was very tender.
Sue Young knows her physical injuries will heal, but the emotional scarring behind what happened to her last Thursday won't quickly fade away.
It was just insults after insults after insults.
Those insults, Young says, came from this woman and her friends, while all of them were riding on an F train. Police say they were making anti-ethnic references toward Young and her family, who were visiting from Nevada.
Anti-ethnic and just saying
My
racist
husband
remarks.
felt like he needed to step in, and so he started saying, can you use some other words besides those?
She says after the girls realized they were being recorded by another passenger, Joanna Lynn, and one of them started attacking her.
She ran over, grabbed me by the hair, threw me on the ground, and started punching me several times.
Young couldn't stand to see Lynn getting attacked, so she says she got up and pushed one of the girls out of the way. Then that same teen attacked her. The Hate Crimes Task Force has now taken over this investigation. According to the NYPD, anti-Asian hate crimes are down significantly this year, from 64 in 2022 to 30 this year. Joanne Yo is president of the Asian American Federation, which started its Hope Against Hate initiative, promoting situational awareness against hate.
I think it's so great to see so many young people, non-Asian, stepping up because they understand the shared commitment we have to making sure that everybody is safe.
And we're told that bystanders helped these 2 women get to safety after this attack. From Greenwich Village, John Diaz, CBS 2 News.
And you'll see more of this later. Yeah, it's like you'll see more of it because they always view Asians as the model minority, and so they're white adjacent. They're just basically white people, but with a yellow tint, right? That's how they view them.
Now, remember in the beginning of that video, the news guy said possible hate crime. Remember he said that?
Yeah.
Now, if the roles were reversed, do you think he would have said possible hate crime, or would he have said hate crime?
Oh, that's guaranteed hate crime right there.
He would have said hate crime. And you see how they use wordplay? You know, we don't want to say these young Black Americans who committed a hate crime. You know, no, it's a hate crime, regardless, either side.
They also didn't say racist remarks either. They used, what was the other phrase? I forgot it already, but they used a different phrase for it. It was like some sort of, it wasn't racial insults. It was something else. Anyway, but the point is they changed the wording to match it. If it was a couple of white teenagers doing the exact same thing, it would have been racist slurs like thrown at these Asian women, right? It would have been like just white supremacist over and over again. But hey, whatever.
Because it's their latest one to go to. It's what they go. It's their go-to thing now. They can't help it because what else are they going to go on? You can't go on anything that factual stuff because they say, well, it depends on what your version of facts is, and you can't show them what they're actually doing because they say then that's racist. So it leaves everybody else on the outside with no other place to go. They don't leave us. Well, technically they do. We have a leg to stand on, but they leave you in the public light without a leg to stand on. And they know this. They know this. So that's what they have to keep doing. They got to keep bringing stuff over and over to the forefront so you can think that they're, so for people who just so you know, think that Biden didn't say it. Here's the actual quote: "The pandemic no longer controls our lives. The vaccine that saved us from COVID is now being used to beat cancer."
Wow.
Oh, amazing.
Just like a 2-for-1. You just
Yeah.
So, so Marlon, I got a video for you. I wanted to play.
he lied about it because it doesn't actually. I'm not going to say that because I don't want to get demonetized. Never mind.
So remember, when we're talking about words, you got to remember the famous quote of Bill Clinton.
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Right. But definition of is.
But the only way that this violence is, they're really going to start taking it seriously, maybe, is once people start retaliating. Remember the Guardian Angels? I think they were in New York. Was it the Guardian Angels? They used to wear the red berets. Once you start getting vigilante groups, I wouldn't even call them vigilante. I'll call them peacekeepers, real peacekeepers, out there policing the streets like that overwatch the innocent citizens, the women, the children. They really start paying attention to what's going on. They start reacting to the violence. That's when the government's going to step in and, try to say they're going to try to counter it. But they're never going to counter it because they want to create it. They want it to happen.
So you're saying once the Watchmen is formed and start putting on masks, then the government will finally come in. Got it.
Yeah, I want to be Mr. Manhattan if that's okay. I have already.
I wanted to be Mr. Manhattan. He's literally the only person in that thing that has power.
Like I'm blue. I'm blue.
Yeah.
I win. Okay?
I want to be Blank Man.
Who's the guy with the mask that moves? That
Rorschach.
Yeah,
Rorschach. I could be him too, but I see Bro more as Rorschach.
Bro's definitely Rorschach.
So listen carefully to this one.
First at 5, a shocker on the subway. A group of people attacked by a stranger with fire. Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Dragon's Dogma.
I'm Adam Cooperstein. Tonight, police are looking for that man you just saw holding 2 cans of fire on the subway platform. They say he lit the flammable liquid and then threw the cans at a group of strangers. The attack happened at the 28th Street stop in Chelsea along the 1 line. And police say that group was just standing on the platform when 2 flaming cans came flying their way. Thankfully, no one was hurt. But that guy who did it, he is still on the loose.
Of course.
Checky Beckford is live
a hell of a
in
drug.
Chelsea. And here we're looking at Checky, another random attack on the subway.
Another
random attack indeed, Adam. And, we've seen some crazy things in the subway, but this one is right up there. Can you imagine standing down here and seeing some guy with fire in his hands and then him throwing it at you?
Yeah.
Luckily, the camera is right here.
He's a
behind me,
firebender
captured it
from the Fire
happen.
Nation.
Let's take a look at that video again, showing that man basically walking up to the turnstiles with the 2 canisters of fire in his hand. And police say after that video stops, he actually threw it at a group of people who were standing on the other side. Police say that was unprovoked, that those people had not done anything to the man, but for some reason he targeted them. That unfortunately, though, no one was hurt or injured as a result of this. And again, that guy got away. Take a listen to what riders here had to say when we showed him the video.
That's crazy. I don't even know what to say. You can't just do this to kill people like that. No.
Are you gay? Why are you gay? Why are you gay?
Why are you gay? You had to find the only African dude to have that.
And so I feel for the people in New York, not really because they voted for it, but What is the one emotion? What is the one emotion that is the easiest to control or to rile up? It's fear. So if they can keep people in fear, they're easy to control. Just like we said earlier, they can create the fear, and then it gives the government more what? Remember in New York when all the stuff was going on in the subway? Who did they put in the subway because of fear? National Guard.
Yeah.
It's a form of control. Right. So all this fear that they're putting out there, all these riots and all this violence, all this, hey, well, we can help you, but we got to have more control of what you do every single day. And it just gives them more and more control, and they start stripping our rights away little by little. No, screw that fear. Let somebody come up to me doing some crazy stuff like that. I'm going to the jail, under the jail, 24-hour lockdown, because I'm not having it. And that's real. I'm not having it. I am no one's victim, man. I live by that. I am no one's victim. I will go to jail or die trying to defend anyone.
Are you like Jet
and
Li?
that's what
Go ahead, Marlon.
Are you like Jet Li? In
Better
the
than
one,
Jet.
I am nobody's bee.
I'm Jet
You are
Li.
mine. When you at the end of the one, you ever see him at the
Oh,
end?
I remember that. That was a good
great
movie.
movie. I haven't seen that in a long time, but it's a great movie. But
Jet Negro.
what I was going to say is that we're just the canaries in the coal mine. We're trying to tell you that something is wrong, and nobody's listening. I think that's the biggest point of this. And what Bro was saying before is that he's not talking about causing trouble, but he's talking about defending oneself from trouble. Right?
Right.
You shouldn't seek trouble, but you shouldn't back away from it when it finds you either.
That's right. Just reload. That's all.
Just reload. There you go.
Reload the Matrix.
Listen, I
call it
appreciate
out.
you guys inviting me, but I got like some stuff that I gotta fucking get to soon. But please let me know about the next one, because I would like to schedule it and be involved and hang out with y'all.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, they got one Friday, so I'm not gonna be here. So maybe you can probably talk to Marlon about that.
Friday could work. Just let me know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be here for that one. So I'll be back Saturday for Saturday's Rumble. I think this or next Saturday. Sorry.
Okay, let me have you guys listen to this real quick.
Okay.
Because as usual, when you ask the people in charge certain questions, they will give you the answer that you know it's a lie, but it's the one they hope you will believe. And you know who that is, right? You know Mr. Eric Adams.
Yeah.
A lot of these things are happening in either New York or California. And so we're going to listen to his answer to things here. Let's just, in response to all the things that have been happening, there was one lady that got pushed into the subway, lost her legs. There's a couple of people that got stabbed on the subway. A man was even found throwing feces at people. New York is a great place to move to. If you ever need to live in a big city, New York is your place.
The crime rate in this city in March was up over 37% from a year ago. Shootings are up 16%. We've seen brutal crimes. I think of the young lady who was pushed into the oncoming train in the subway station.
That one, yeah.
You've made this a priority, improving public safety, but level with New Yorkers. How long before they actually start seeing these policies work and the crime rate come down?
Here we go.
This is a crucial for me. It's so important. As I say, the public safety and justice, they are the prerequisite to prosperity. I say over and over again, I'm a hard grader on myself. I think we got an eye in progress. There's some serious things we are doing. Number one, to stop the feeders of crime. These are generational problems that actually are starting to materialize across the country.
No, don't deflect now. No. She asked you about New York, bro. Forget the rest of the country.
That ain't your responsibility.
We talking about you and New York, okay?
Yeah.
Forget
you're the mayor of New York City.
Yeah, you're not the mayor of Austin, Texas.
Yeah, you're real funny.
Watching the increase of gun violence and other violence all across the
gun
country.
violence, right? Yeah.
I think big city mayors have been seeking the help that they need. We're going to do
what?
About job.
What help?
You know, we removed 1,800 guns off the streets of the city of New York since I've
Prove
been
it.
the mayor. You know, we have to really think about that. Why do we have this continuous flow? 10% of those guns were ghost guns. And so we're going to do our job on the ground. We're going to stop the feeders, the failure in our foster care system, dyslexia screening.
What?
Those are some of the feeders that we have failed. And then we're going to zero in on
okay.
those things that are happening now with these dangerous gangs in some of the actions that we're witnessing.
All right, Mayor Adams, you have your work cut out for you. I know you're recovering from COVID. I hope
doesn't
you're
matter how many guns
feeling
you
better. Thank you
remove.
for your time.
Oh, and he got COVID
From the streets. If you don't remove the people that are using the guns and you let them go.
Okay.
All right, guys. I will talk to y'all later.
All right.
You have
A
me?
few things. How she was kind of gloves off, nice to him. You know, these journalists need to go hard on people like him. Like, ask the hard questions. Don't be this soft touch kind of. What are you doing? And then he shifted to like other cities, like as Marlon stated, which we're not talking about other cities. We're talking about New York, your city. That's what you're in charge of. Then he shifted to guns, ghost guns. So at the end of the day, their plan is to get rid of all guns. This is why they shifted to guns. Then he said 1,800, some fake number. You know, then he started talking about something else. I don't know where he went off in La La Land. Then at the end of it, to get that sympathy view, I know you're recovering from COVID. Oh,
It's amazing to me. So you got 1,800 guns off the streets. Did you put away 1,800 people attached to those guns? Because I bet you didn't. At a city of millions of people, 1,800 people is barely a drop in the bucket of all the crime that you're probably committing, people that are committing. But the sad part is only a handful of people in New York City are actually committing the crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And they could eliminate it if they would just remove these people. But they won't. They catch them and then they release them back and then they just commit more crimes, right? So there's guys that will go into a place, rob a place, get arrested, hours later get out and commit another robbery in the same day, even. Not a few hours.
You ready for this?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
New York, population of 19,835 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there is a rate of 4.6 guns per capita. So that's the average. Every 4.6 person owns a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Every 4.6, and you got rid of 1,800.
Yeah.
You didn't even make no dent, and I bet you took it from people who never had a criminal record.
That's what I was also going to say. Is like how many of those guns were legal owners that you took away from versus criminals?
I mean, you talk about legal owners, you talk about guns that, you know, they find guns to just out and about in the woods somewhere. You know, they're finding guns and just gun sales that weren't legal. There's all types of stuff. But the real question is, how many guns came from violent criminals? And are those violent criminals off the street? I don't care about some old lady who couldn't have a gun, who's never committed a violent crime, but she was considered mentally, you know, not mentally able or capable of owning a gun.
Yeah.
1,800, my butt. He made that number up.
Well, the thing is, they're all saying the same thing. Our city is safe. Our city is safe. Our city is safe. But just before she asked you the question, you said, and if you want, go back and watch that interview. She said told her that they've been bringing crime down. And just before she asked him that question, she told him, as of last year, it's up 37%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways, Eric. Either it is going up or it is going down, but you can't simultaneously see it go up and down at the same time.
The funniest thing in this is that you actually have journalists who have been reporting on crime as it not being a big issue and then getting robbed in the same segment while they're reporting on it.
Yeah. And you know the thing when he talks about his crime stats, was he talking about the year, or was he just talking about that quarter? Because a lot of times, again, they use word. They're word ninjas, man. So when they say crime is coming down, it came down for this quarter. Yes, it is down just a little bit for the quarter. We don't want to know the quarter numbers. Let's talk about the last 5 years. How much has it gone down? I don't care about 90 days, 90 to 120 days. Yeah, crimes, there hasn't been that many crimes, just like 3 less than it was the quarter before. So they use stuff like that, man, to fool the people that are uninformed. And then people are like, oh, crime went down. Yeah, for the quarter. But, you know, next quarter, we don't know where it's going to be at. Then they won't talk about
mean much.
Yeah, then it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we'll close with this lady, because I think this is one of the best ones to close with. Let me see if I can find it here. All right, here it is. Might as well watch this and understand it fully.
Speaker, please. Please introduce yourself. Welcome. Hi there, my name is Riddhi Patel. I'm here to speak in support of the City Council introducing a ceasefire resolution, specifically the one United Liberation Front has drafted. I don't have faith that you'll do this. You guys are all horrible human beings, and Jesus probably would have killed you himself. And the thing is, though, it's very clear to me as someone who's been an organizer for the past couple of years that none of you care because you guys don't care about anything happening in Palestine or any other country where oppression occurs because you don't care about the oppression occurring here. That's why 40% of current workers don't earn a living wage. That's why the median wage is $30,000. That's why 2,300 people have been evicted in the last year alone because of your failures. That's why the carpenters here were speaking behind me when Bob Smith himself and his son's stupid real estate company, Sage Equities, has been fined $1.3 million by the California Labor Commission for stealing wages from the Carpenters Union. It's why you won't give Leadership Council right to counsel, which Bakersfield residents deserve, and you won't even fund it properly. You'll give it scraps while you give the police, literally a murderer, millions of dollars, while residents who've been evicted that are literally here telling you they've been evicted, you can't give them money to even get the bare minimum of right to counsel. And when the city budget comes up this summer, I know that you guys will vote to increase police funding. And I understand that you guys are all horrible people. But the thing is, 2,300 people being evicted in the last year, those are votes. And you guys, those are votes to win here in Bakersfield. And while you guys parade Gandhi around as a Hindu holiday called Chaitra Navratri starts off this week, I remind you that these holidays that we practice, that other people in the global South practice, believe in violent revolution against their oppressors. And I hope one day somebody brings the guillotine and kills all of you motherfuckers.
Thank you. And with that,
she's a sweet one. She's a
Yeah, I mean that's
sunshine.
one way to convince.
I mean,
your
you know,
arguments.
leftists are, you know, accepting, tolerant, peaceful people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is what they're telling us.
There is more.
They're revolutionaries.
There is more.
Yeah.
She
Welcome.
goes back
Please
up again.
introduce yourself, and would you lower the mic, please?
My name's Riddhi. I'm here to speak on agenda item 71, but also addressing Councilman Smith's comments that he doesn't know what he's talking about with the California Labor Commission. A press release from the State of California Department of Industrial Relations. The Labor Commissioner's office collected $1.3 million in wages and penalties resulting from a prevailing wage assessment against Bakersfield-based subcontractor Grant Construction employed by Sage Equities. The wages collected will compensate 27 workers for unpaid prevailing wages while working on a farm worker housing construction
Ms.
project
Patel.
in the city of Wasco in Kern
Ms.
County.
Patel, this portion is reserved
If he gets to
for-
respond, I do too, Karen. Then following item
Karen.
71.
Go ahead with 71.
The increased criminalization for no need other than you don't like when people come and hold you guys accountable for introducing ceasefire resolutions, because the only escalation in violence has been by you all. And so there's no need to continue. In the last 5 years I've attended city council meetings, there's never been metal detectors. There's never been more cops. The only reason you're doing it is because people actually don't care if you guys don't like them, and they're actually resisting, so you want to criminalize them. And then on top of it all, my councilman, Bruce Freeman, still will continue oppression here locally when he actually supports this and most likely will support voting for the resolution. And there's what I need the community members behind me to understand is that these electeds don't really care about you. The only thing you're going to do, even if you vote them out of office, Manpreet sold her soul after leaving Jakar Movement as their development director, now working for a wonderful company as farm workers are unionizing with Wonderful, and they still won't let them unionize. So she sold her goddamn soul. So regardless of whether you elect people into office, they'll backstab you, they'll let you die. And for that reason, you guys want to criminalize us with metal detectors? We'll see you at your house. We'll murder you.
Dang.
Okay.
Next
I mean,
speaker,
it's the thing I want to say is like, it's one of those things is like, you're technically right, but you probably shouldn't say it that way. It's like, you're not necessarily wrong, but that's not how I would have gone about it.
Well, here's where she is wrong. She's talking to the people that she herself put there.
Yes.
Not other people. She did that. I am betting you money that she voted Democrat. I'm gonna bet you any kind of money she didn't vote Republican.
But here's the thing: she was calling out the corruption of the individuals on the city committee, and in the first place. And here's the other thing: is like, why does the city council need to do a ceasefire resolution?
Thank you.
That doesn't make any effing sense entirely.
Virtue signaling.
But all the other stuff is like, you probably should have let off with the corruption of the city council instead of saying we'll murder you. Yeah. Like that probably would have been a better sticking point, in my opinion. But people don't understand how to convince people of things and have arguments. So
yes, she's facing I think 19 felonies.
Good. Yeah.
There's quite a bit of felonious activity she'll be facing. I have no doubt that she'll end up fulfilling every last one of them. Now that I show you that one to tell you this. I get that people are fed up. People are tired. Yes. But if people wouldn't be in this position, hear me out, if you used your brain when voting instead of your emotions.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
Other people suffer because of your stupidity. And now it's because it's burning you. Now all of a sudden you want to go find your brain. A little late, just a little bit late. I mean, it's good that you're finding yourself, but after we've tried telling you that these people do not care, that you look at the pattern of behavior, vote them out. You don't want to do that. You can even recall people. You don't want to do that. But every time something happens that in your favor, you leave them there, and when it doesn't happen in your favor, you riot. But you don't ever go change the vote. And so I don't understand why you're complaining about anything when you don't really have the solution at your fingertip. I don't use it. I don't get that one.
No, but it's surprising that in California, in a supermajority state, that things aren't going the way you want them to. It's amazing.
And the problem with the left is always voting based off emotion. You're going to see it right here if the 2024 election happens. They're doing everything they can to get rid of the Don. Let's say Don's gone, Biden gets elected again. And then when things really start happening in this country to where it's really affecting them, to where they really open their eyes up to it, then they'll start reacting like this lady did. But until that happens, they're just going to go along to get rid of the other guy, vote based off their emotions, get what they want. Life goes to hell. And then they're finally going to wake up maybe and say, oh my God, we made a mistake. Well, we've been telling you the whole time that this guy wasn't worth voting for. But now you're going to reap what you sow. And then you're going to figure out that you're just as useless on the left to these people as they think we are on the right. We are all the same to them. We are nothing but cattle.
I have hope that he does get back in again.
Yeah.
It sounds bad. I know. But at the same time, hear me out. You can prep for the stupid and survive just fine with stupid people in power. You can. But if that has to happen to wake up more of the population, I'm willing to have that happen. I think I'll be fine with people going through another 4 years of Biden and have him fully play his plan out and destroy them to the point where they can't eat, but you can because you prep for it. I want that to happen. I do want to happen where we who are prepped for everything, ready for the next 4 years, and have every one of these big names talking all this boost up for Biden, and then they can't afford gas and they can't afford their homes, and every last one of them goes bankrupt. I'll be here for that. And I want to be able to point at them and laugh at them. Why? Because we were trying to tell you this for 8 years. Not just 4. At this point, it's 8 years. Technically, some of us have been telling you since Clinton.
Yep.
Okay? So technically, it's been almost 30 years we've been telling you. But y'all don't want to hear. So when that happens, I want to be there to say now. And the odd thing is, what I think will happen is even when that does happen, they still won't change their mind.
No.
They're stuck on stupid.
Yeah. And when they talk about extending the olive branch, those days are done, dude. I'll treat you like a human as a human. I'm not going to do anything to you, but extending the olive branch and you want help, that's over. You reap what you sow.
I think it's been done for a while, but like that video is just, like I said, this is the canary in the coal mine. We're telling you all the things that are going wrong. And she's not the only one that feels like that. That's the problem. She just happens to be the one that said it out loud, which is probably the worst thing you probably could have done. But she's not the only one that feels that way. And that's the problem, is the government derives legitimacy from the people, and the people stop seeing the government as a legitimate entity, as their overlords, so to say, then it collapses. And that once the king loses the heaven's mandate, if you want to put it in the Chinese term, is the heaven's mandate, being ordained by God as to be the leader of the world or leader of the country. Once you lose that mandate, you're done.
Done.
Once the people lose faith in the system, it's done. And that's where we're at right now, is people are losing faith in the system, and that it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better.
Oh, yeah.
And we've been trying to tell people the system is not about race. It's just one element that they use. The system is just oppression of, not of the kind that you talk about with slavery. It's an oppression of thought.
Yeah.
You can't think a certain way. And the instant you think that way, we have to shut you up, because that thought removes our power. And if they have to use race to divide you and you're slow enough to follow it, that's what will happen. If they use sex to separate you, you'll be senseless, and you do that too. So they're slick. They're really slick about it. But you have to remember, they mentioned this whole ideology way back in Reagan. Reagan's almost second to last year, or last year, he had a speech where he talked about the New World Order. He said it was going to happen. Bush came in. He promised it would happen. Clinton said it. Bush Jr. said it. Obama said it. Biden said it.
Yep, they all said it.
So they've been telling you that this was going to be the plan, but the only way for them to have that executed is for you to be out of the picture, either by force or by subversion. They're working on both right now.
And you remember Reagan said, our country is not going to be destroyed, pretty much, not from an outside force.
Inside out.
From the inside. From the inside out, it will be destroyed. And this is all planned. This isn't by chance. This isn't just an anomaly. Everything that's happening with the chaos, the violence, the bumbling potato that we have in office, everything that's happening with Diddy, all of this is planned. It's very strategic how they do it.
Right.
All these wars, all of it's strategic. They're planning this stuff perfectly while they are destroying our country from within. They keep us focused on the out while they destroy in. If you're looking out, you're not looking in. Just remember that.
Exactly.
You need to look in.
It is going to get exponentially worse, people, and I don't see how we're not going to be prepared. We need to start doing now, because I still don't think that 24. I'm still, this is me. I'm still holding on to my 24 not happening. And if it does, you won't see. They'll try their best to keep Trump off of the ballot one way or another, and I mean that one way or another. And we'll see how that goes. Now, there's been talk about trying to oust Johnson as a Speaker of the House. Did you hear about that? Rumblings about that?
Yeah, I heard about that. He talked with Trump. I don't know, man. You know, I don't know if Johnson.
He doesn't have the balls he had when he wasn't Speaker of the House.
Well, if he doesn't, or is he playing a role? Because you know how I feel about all this.
Either way, he's loser. If he's a worthless, if he's playing a role.
Yeah, if he's playing a role, all this political theater, maybe, he's playing a part. I don't know. But if he needs to go, so be it. But it's not going to matter, because we thought McCarthy was going to be good. Well, some people did.
No,
they was all cheering for McCarthy, and then Johnson got in, and all the people that are against Johnson now or for Johnson are now against Johnson. So who else do we have? Who else? That won't that won't play into this new world order and all.
The only one that didn't want to do it, and that was what's his name, Jordan.
Yeah, Jim Jordan.
That's the only one. Byron wouldn't do it.
Maybe Jim Jordan doesn't want to do it because he knows that selling his soul could be part of the process, and that influence. Yeah, influence of threatening your family, doing all that other stuff. So if he can just kind of stay behind the scenes, but as a speaker, a lot of their decisions made, there's a lot of outside influence. And if anybody thinks for a second that these people are in charge, you're fooling yourself. You've been living under a rock. There's big money in charge, and whoever that big money is, we haven't found out yet, like the really big at the top. But we're going to find out.
Yeah, even if they do oust him, I wouldn't feel bad because of that bill that he helped pass. They all talk, and I remember we came in very skeptical about him.
Yep.
We said he was going to be almost a rhino. Lo and behold, he's becoming a rhino. It's almost like you can't do any of them right now without thinking that he's going to eventually flip the script and join the other side. So we'll see. I don't know that Jim would do it. Now, this is just me. If it ever came down and put Kennedy in there, we'd be in business.
Oh, yeah. And one more thing when it comes to the political parties, they've been trying to get rid of the Republican Party since the beginning. So just like you're seeing chaos amongst the American people and throughout the world, the Republican Party is very divided right now. So if they can divide the party, the left can do whatever they want because they're infighting. They're fighting amongst each other. So our own party, those are the Republicans. The party can't even figure out what they want. They can't even figure out, getting along in there. They're so divided on so many issues. But if you look at the left is always ride or die with each other. This is why you can see the Republican Party getting overrun in these next elections because they can't agree on simple things. They're divided on this. They're divided. They're this, that, and the other. The leftists, they get down with something, they're all down. And you may have some few stragglers, but the majority of that party is always down with each other.
I would love to see John Kennedy as Speaker of the House if he would just leave the whole Senate thing and go do that. That would be, I think that'd be hilarious. I doubt it. Hey, I doubt it, but still, it'd be a fun thing to watch. Maybe perhaps Friday we can discuss the Trump trial, the defamation one, and the Stormy Daniels one on Friday.
Yep.
Because that's becoming quite the talk of the town.
Yeah.
I mean, we know for what purposes, but we can join in on the conversation about it, because eventually it's going to come home to a position that we cannot escape anymore. It's going to come down to a discussion we have to have. So we'll make sure that we'll let you know by tomorrow what we decide on. But it might be if you guys think of something else other than that, you can let me know.
Okay.
Tomorrow, remember, no Straight Talk tomorrow, and there's nothing else after today. We're back on Friday with Savage Patriots, and I'll be back on Friday with Straight Talk. And then the Hooch is on tomorrow at 6.
Yep.
Okay. Eastern. 6 Eastern or Central?
Central. I'm sorry.
Central. 6 Central.
Yeah.
So 7 Eastern.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys catch that. If you're not subbed yet, go and do that. You're wasting time. We got to fight. We go fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get
So
on.
please go like, share, subscribe to our channel. Make sure you get the word out so people can. And I just put up a new shirt. And if you have questions about how to say it, ask me next time. But make sure you go get some stuff for the summer. Get some tank tops and some cups and stuff. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Other than that, we'll catch you guys on Friday. Be well. The Savage Patriots out. Peace.
Whoa.